Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report is your preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda and an update from your Oshkosh City Manager. Your hosts, Emily Mikowski of Oshkosh Community Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
And thank you for joining us on your City Manager's Report, your source for all of the local hot topics here in Oshkosh, as well as a preview of the upcoming City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, September 8th, 2015. I'm your host, Emily Mikowski, joined as always by your City Manager, Mark Roloff. So Mark, first of all, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, great to be here, Emily.
So we're going to go ahead and dive into our hot topics, the fun and exciting news here in Oshkosh, take a little break, and then we'll return with a review of the City Council meeting agenda. So Mark, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. The first item that we want to talk about is the Oshkosh Corp contract. Now, this is big news. All of Oshkosh was celebrating when they heard. It was really a big splash.
Oh, huge news. Oshkosh Corp has been working on this for a number of years, and for them to be selected nationwide to produce the next generation of what a lot of people remember as being the Jeeps and the Humvees. It's going to be something new that we don't even know the name of, but it's going to be something that's going to be made in Oshkosh. It's going to have the Oshkosh name on the front of these vehicles for years to come. And we've had some really great partnerships over the last few years with Oshkosh Corporation. The E-Code facility was just one example of something that we worked with them on. As we go forward, workforce is going to be a huge issue, making sure that the workforce needs that Oshkosh Corp has, that employees are trained and ready and available and plentiful, and then also that we have to step up and make sure that we have housing available so that people have a wide variety of housings to choose from. We're going to be welcoming a lot of new people into our community, and a lot of the people in our community are going to be working there. If they aren't already working there, they're going to be going to work there. It's going to be a very exciting time for us in the short term in terms of the main contract they got, but potentially this could last us 25 years.
Oh yeah, and you described it perfectly. There is kind of a ripple effect with something like this, with the housing and making sure that those new employees are taken care of that are coming in, because it is a big chunk of people that they're going to be bringing in. So it's really exciting, and it really just instills that much more of Oshkosh pride, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just the Oshkosh Corporation, it's all the businesses. It's called the supply chain. And as you said, the ripple effect is going to be with other businesses, whether they supply Oshkosh Corporation or it's where people shop or things like that. There'll be some wonderful ripple effects, and it's going to be really in the whole region that you're going to see that. And then, of course, as people have better paying jobs and have disposable income, they get more engaged in the community. It's going to be a big lift for the entire community because Oshkosh Corporation is an employer of choice, and I think people will be really excited to be part of the action that's going to be going on in Oshkosh.
Definitely. Well, great news. Very excited about that, and we can't wait for more updates. Next item that we have here, Mark, is Cycling Without Age. We want to give another little shout out to another exciting update here in Oshkosh. They just had their kickoff a couple weeks ago, and they had their creator of Cycling Without Age from overseas come to Oshkosh and kick off the very first Cycling Without Age program in the United States. So they were over out at the Lutheran Homes of Oshkosh, and they spoke, gave a nice presentation about what Cycling Without Age is. And it's just really a cool program. As you can see by the logo, it kind of gives it away. It's a bunch of rickshaws. I think they purchased about 3 of them, and they were giving rides, and it's for the elders that are unable to ride bicycles anymore. So it really is kind of a chance for those people to feel the wind in their hair again and have the feeling of riding a bike again. So it's just such a cool program. The senior center was involved, and you probably will be starting to see the rickshaws out on the streets taking people to and from Menominee Park and just different areas in Oshkosh. So
yeah, we were really fortunate. We were able to, Mayor Cummings made a proclamation, and it's Cycling Without Age Day in Oshkosh on that day, August 24th, but it really does show that the community does value our seniors, the contributions they've made, and it's a little thank you because there's still a little fun in everybody, and this gives them a chance to get out there and enjoy a little wind in their hair, and just enjoy it. And the volunteers, the people who are part of being the rickshaw drivers. It's not easy hauling somebody in a rickshaw. It doesn't matter how old they are. It's not an easy task. So the volunteers who are doing it are just wonderful people.
Yes, and I was out there that day. It was a cold, blustery day, and it was still a packed house. Everybody was waiting for their first ride in the rickshaw. So it was a great event. We look forward to seeing more from Lutheran Homes of Oshkosh with the Cycling Without Age program. Another update here, Mark, is construction on Congress and Elmwood. We've probably noticed it if that's part of your daily commute, that the lanes are very restricted right now, and we've got a little bit of an update for that.
Well, this has to do with some water main breaks that have occurred over the winter season, and we fixed some of those. And actually, as we've gone back and started to replace the pavement and put in the concrete pavement for a more permanent fix, we've actually discovered a few more water main breaks. So it's going to take a little longer. It's going to be somewhat of an inconvenience, but we're going to work around it. There's a lot of things going on with school opening, the university opening. We want to make sure that we minimize the inconvenience for the neighborhood, but whenever you have a water main break, you gotta fix it. And so we'll get this done, and so you'll see this on and off over the next couple weeks. We have to work around events that are going on around Congress Avenue and the university. So
in an already busy area.
Already busy, yeah. And so it's important that we get these main breaks taken care of, because if you don't, they start to further erode the street, and that's not good for anybody. So it's important that we get these done, and our crews make sure they get it right, so that we don't have to go back again.
Yes. And as the road construction season comes to an end, maybe that will be one of the last projects that we're going to have to drive through this season.
Let's hope so.
We want to talk about a couple of upcoming events at a few different locations here in Oshkosh. First one that I'm really looking forward to is at the Oshkosh Public Museum. It's called Night Whispers. It'll be Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays at, I think they have tours at 6:30 and 7 o'clock, and all of October. So it's really kind of a cool opportunity here in Oshkosh.
It's just a different twist to get you to see the museum, because it's a beautiful old home, and so they're going to have stories, ghost stories of Oshkosh, all the lore that goes with it. But when you put it in the atmosphere of the museum and all the relics that we have in there, it's going to really be cool. And our OCMS staff have put a little spooky twist on some of the videos that we have. Don't worry, the ghosts are not there. Those are all kind of computer generated. Yeah, just doing it to have some fun. But that's the whole idea, is to have some fun, get in with the spirit of the Halloween season, and also get a chance to go over and see the museum. If you haven't been there in a while, the Great Gatsby exhibit is going to be coming up very soon. Come back for that. Come for the ghost, stay for Great Gatsby, do all that stuff. The museum has a lot to offer, and I think you'll be very pleased when you see some of what we have in there, in addition to enjoying the ghost stories.
Yes, looking forward to it. $10 for non-members, $7 if you are a member of the museum, and then $5 if you got some brave kids between the ages of 10 and 17 years old. I wouldn't bring anyone under 10. So another thing we want to look forward to in the city is at the Senior Center. Well, it's for the Senior Center, and that's Fall Family Fun Fest. This is on September 13th on Grandparents' Day from 11 a.m. to 3. And there's a lot of different components to it. So
tons of things. Of course, the Granny Smith Run Walk is going to be held in the morning, and then the festival itself is going to be going on. It is not just for seniors. I think a lot of people think it's just that. Very family-oriented, a lot of fun activities. There's food, there's song, there's dance, just all sorts of activities to see. The Senior Center, it's a great location right along the river. I would encourage families to just take a look at it. There's nothing, it's not a cost event. Just show up and have fun, whether you're bouncing around. No adults in the bouncy house though, but it's still a lot of fun. So I'd encourage people to come on Sunday, September 13th. It runs from 11 to 3 p.m. Nice little middle of the day activity.
Yes, and of course the Del Reys, as I think they do play every year, they'll be playing again this year. And then I always have to note, if you are a part of the Granny Smith Run Walk, you do get a caramel apple at the end of the race. So that's an important thing to remember. It's worth getting up for and doing that fun run and walk.
There you go.
So One last event that we want to promote is the Stone of Hope exhibit. It's kind of a pop-up museum exhibit, and Mark, maybe you can give us a little more detail on when and where that's going to be.
It's going to be over at First Congregational Church, just across the street from here at City Hall, 137 Algoma Boulevard. It's going to be on Tuesday, September 29th at 7 p.m. And really what it is, it's providing a history of the Black experiences in the Fox cities. It's a pop-up exhibit, so it's a very small exhibit, but it's packed with history. And a lot of people don't realize that we had a very substantial African American community many years ago, and it died off due to a lot of things with discrimination in the past and other things like that. It tells a wonderful story, and it also, I think a lot of the African American community said, I never realized this either, because the African American community went away and now it's coming back. And so we've got some great speakers that are going to be at this event. Curator at the History Museum from up in Appleton, St. Norbert College, African Heritage Incorporated, as well as some local folks from Fit Oshkosh, about just learning more about it and a little bit of history that maybe isn't the best of history, but every bit of history has some value to it. And I think it's an off night. It's not a council Tuesday night. So
perfect.
I might actually be able to go to one of these things on a Tuesday night. So I'm looking forward to it, and certainly want to help promote it, because I think it does help with understanding diversity in our community. So a real fun event, and looking forward to having it happen.
Awesome. Can't wait. A couple other updates here. One thing which a lot of parents out there knows very well is that school is now started, and we just want to put the reminder out there to be aware of the different traffic concerns. So there's going to be a lot more pedestrians. Make sure you're watching for them. You'll see a lot of, during the morning and afternoon commute, a lot of people walking to their buses. So really just kind of be aware. It's kind of one of those...
Repeating the things that everybody knows already. Look for the kids in the school zone, because the kids aren't always looking for you. I mean, that's just, and you know that, but as motorists, you have to take that responsibility. Be very careful with the speed limit in the school zones. Our police officers will be out, be forewarned. And if you get a ticket, they're doing it because they want you to not, be going so fast through the school zones. And of course, as bus stops, making sure that you're stopping while kids are loading and unloading.
Even if you're coming the other direction.
Even in the other direction, because kids do cross the street, and the bus drivers try to coach the kids as well, but once the kids are off the bus, the ears kind of tune out. So please be very aware of the kids that are out there, and if everybody's safe, everybody's happy.
Yes, amazing that school has already started. I can't believe how fast the summer's gone, as well as Labor Day is coming up too, so we've got just a couple of updates for that. The usual updates for the holidays. For Labor Day, Go Transit will not be operating on Monday, September 7th. The office will also be closed, as well as no garbage or recycling from our Public Works Department.
So all garbage and recycling was back one day.
Yes.
So just one day, that's all. But
so if it's typically on Friday, it'll be moving to Saturday, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so a lot of fun updates for you today. It's that time of the show, though, that we're going to take a few minutes and ask a question to our city manager, Mark Roloff. So let's go ahead and see what the Mark question is this week. Mark, so the question this week is, what are the bike lanes doing in the middle of the street on Knapp Street?
Well, they're not exactly bike lanes, so
I'm curious about that.
Yeah, and it does look a little odd, and I think the footage really points it out very well. But they're what's known as sharrows, and those are shared bike and vehicle lanes. And on Knapp itself, that was one of the first streets that the Bike and Pedestrian Committee decided that they wanted to put it. The reason that a bike lane or a sharrow is on Knapp is because there are a lot of east-west streets in that part of town. West 5th going from Franklin School all the way out to Knapp. 9th Avenue, we want to encourage biking, but that's a little tough right now, so we want people to take Osborne and go all the way to South Park. So what the sharrow is, it's not a bike lane per se. There's no lines that designate the lane itself. You're essentially sharing the traffic lane with the motorists. So we're really asking motorists to be on the lookout, because people will eventually start using that. The reason it looks like it's in the middle of the lane is because on Knapp Street, for example, we still have parking that's there. But if nobody's parking there, the chevron and the bike designation that you see there is right in the middle of the lane. But actually, it's favoring the right side of the lane that's shared. So we want to encourage bicyclists to stay on the right side of the lane when they're bicycling. But Knapp Street does have parking on that southbound side. So please be aware of that and be on the lookout for bicycles as well as bicyclists. Be on the lookout for people that are parking. But it's part of promoting bicycling as transportation as well as recreation. And Knapp Street is an important part of that. So we look forward to people starting to use our Shero lanes.
So just be cautious if you see them. There are bikes around, and like you said, it's just a good way to take notice. So if you'd like to send a question to Mark, you can email it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of CMR. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into the City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, September 8th. We'll be right back on your City Manager's Report.
If you have expired or unused medication, don't flush it, pour it down the drain, or toss it in the trash. Safely dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box located inside the Oshkosh Police Department. It's convenient and anonymous, safe and secure, and it's open to everyone 24/7. Drop off your prescriptions, over-the-counter drugs, pet meds, and more. Keep drugs out of the reach of children and out of our water supply. Dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box. For more information, visit the Oshkosh Police Department website at oshkoshpd.com.
Welcome back to City Manager's Report. Thanks again for joining us. Now it's that time of the show where we're going to go into the City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, September 8th, 2015. So, Mark, to kick off the council meeting, actually prior to the council meeting, is a workshop for health insurance. So what exactly is this preparing for?
We have been working with the council to get them to understand where we are, the status for our health insurance plan, the Affordable Care Act, federal legislation, puts a lot of regulations on employers, and come 2018 we're going to be looking at some potential taxes that we would have to pay as an employer if we don't figure out a way to lower our health care costs. So the workshop is to report on some bidding that we've done on some new potential health insurance coverage. We're going to report on that to council and get feedback from them because depending on the direction they give us, we'll need to move in the next month or so on getting that implemented for 2016. And as we go forward with the Affordable Care Act regulations kicking in 2018, we really need to start to prepare now. So setting up next year's health insurance is really the first step towards doing that.
Excellent. Getting the process started. I like it. That one's not going to be televised. It is in room 203, so we don't have the ability to televise it. Next item we want to talk about, item number 6, Resolution 15-408, is an award bid for a walk-in cooler and freezer for the convention center at about $52,000. So why is this important to note?
Well, it's $52,000. That's a big investment over at the convention center, but it's actually very good news. Food service being what it is, it's changed a lot. There's a lot of need for refrigeration with a lot of foods getting prepared with all the events going on at the convention center. We didn't have this problem before because in the past there was a lot of food that was prepared over at the hotel and brought over. There's so much stuff going on at the hotel and at the convention center that they need more cold storage at the convention center just for convention center business. So that's very, very good.
Great sign.
It's a great sign. So we needed to add this capacity, and so we're doing the extra. I won't know if we're doubling, but we're increasing by a great deal the amount of storage we have for for refrigerator and freezer.
Wonderful news. So how is something like this funded then? Where does the money come from in the budget?
That's also good news because this actually is not budgeted this year, but our room tax revenues are projecting very well. And the room tax revenues can only be used for certain things, and convention facilities are one of those. So we're proposing that the excess revenue that we're having this year, they're in need of this refrigeration unit. Even now that the summer season's over, we've got that many activities going on. So with the excess revenues that we're projecting for this year, we're proposing to fund it with those room tax dollars. So the visitors who are using the convention center are effectively paying for this refrigeration unit.
Well, even better news. So it's great to hear that we've had a lot of success there, and it's great that the money from that tax is going to help with that. So another cool piece of news that we have here is Resolution 15-410 is a grant. It's an approved accepting a grant from the Wisconsin Historical Society, and that's for the Washington Avenue Neoclassical Historic District on the state and National Register of Historic Places. And this is kind of a neat little thing. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about it, Mark.
I'm sure a lot of people are saying, what's the Washington Avenue Neoclassical Historic District? It is a mouthful. So here it is on a map for you. A point of reference for everybody, you see the Oshkosh Public Library on the north side of Washington Street, and then the blue dashed lines around there. It includes a variety of really cool buildings. So you may drive by it on the way to the library, or you're going down Washington on the way down to Menominee Park. But there are some wonderful old buildings that were built in the first part of the 20th century, most of them in the 20s. But this is it's Wisconsin National Life Building. It's actually the County Health and Human Services, but look at the detail up on the top of the towards the top of the roof. Just incredible architectural features that are largely unnoticed until our folks at OCMS have pointed them out to us. But what this is doing is the State Historical Society is supporting us in our application to get state and national Register of Historic Place designation for this area and these buildings in this district. There are some costs that are associated with that, so they're giving us a $5,000 grant that'll be used towards making this application and hopefully getting this on the National Register. This will help those buildings as they want to move on doing things with tax credits and other things, because being on the National Register qualifies you for things that you might not otherwise get. So we're real excited. These old buildings do have wonderful history for the community, excellent character, and hopefully it'll result in some of them getting maybe rehabilitated for future use. So we're very excited about this.
So this is just the first part. This is just to get the nomination application ready. So we'll have more updates on this as we move forward on where it might be at. Correct?
Very exciting news, and that's exactly what we're going to see.
Awesome. Item number 9 here, Mark, Resolution 15-411, is approve accepting Community Development Investment Grant Funds from Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. This is for the Central City Investment Strategy and the parking study downtown. So we've kind of talked about that a little bit, but maybe you can reiterate what that is.
Well, it is this next phase of what was done in 2000. It was a downtown action plan, and we recognize that we've pretty much done everything in that plan. So what's next? And one of the things that was talked about was we didn't really address parking, and we've talked about that on previous shows. But the great news here is that the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation is also very interested in what we're doing, because they know that when you do these types of plans, you get reinvestment in the community, business investment, individual corporate investment. And so Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation is giving us a $50,000 grant, which is about a quarter to a third of the cost of the Central City Investment Strategy study as well as the parking study. So we're very pleased that they've demonstrated that they have confidence in what we're doing and what we would like to do out here, that they're giving us some money towards doing this study.
It's great, much needed, and it's great to have that support from them as well.
And we're going to be looking for community input as we go through these plans, so be on the lookout for community feedback sessions and things like that.
Great, looking forward to it. Item number 10, Mark, Resolution 15-412, is approve engineering services agreement with AECom Technical Services for designing some South Park area basin retrofits. What exactly is that?
It's a mouthful, but what it is,
It is.
it's really a combination of two departments utilizing the same location for different purposes.
Okay.
The South Park, everybody knows South Park, one of our flagship parks, excellent history, and we recently adopted a master plan for South Park. Now we want to blend that with the need to use South Park in some fashion for stormwater management. So what we're working together with is AECom is the firm that typically does our stormwater stuff, design of ponds. They're one of the few firms that we use. But we're also having them work with the firm that does the landscape architecture for our parks, and they want to design what improvements are going to be done at South Park that will also address stormwater. Most of the cost is going to be for stormwater because there's a lot of excavation and things that would have to be done. But we want to maintain the character of South Park, and so we need the landscape architects to kind of keep the stormwater folks honest. And but we're going to work with them on this and present something that still creates the character that everybody loves about South Park.
Yes, and so this is about $300,000. This is for designing it. This isn't necessarily going to be, the project's not going to be starting right away.
No, in fact, this is just to get things started. You'll probably see some things starting in 2017. Stormwater improvements are the biggest cost, so that'll be funded by the stormwater utility, stormwater rates that everybody pays. And then the other features with parks that are park-oriented will be paid with general obligation dollars that are typically done for parks. So it's just making sure it's done together correctly so we're not tripping over each other.
Excellent. Looking forward to the new additions and changes to South Park because I just love that park too.
It is cool.
So last thing we want to talk about here, Mark, is item number 20 under council discussion, and that's legislation needed to improve property tax fairness. Can you explain a little bit of background with that?
There are a lot of things going on at the state and national level where really what's happening is that there are being challenges made to local assessors, and a lot of people have a view of assessors as being the tax man, but really what they are, they assess the property to determine the fair value so that it's fair to everybody. And what we've seen is some legislation that is actually is going to be hurting small businesses as well as residents, and it's creating unfair property tax regulations that you're paying and I'm paying more than somebody else, and it's because of loopholes that are getting created in the law. And the council wants to discuss what can we do at the state level to say, look, we need to fix this. We need to make sure that when somebody's writing their property tax check, that they know they're being treated fairly compared to everybody else. And that's something that council wants to talk about, and I think it's got to get lifted up to the state level. We need to get other communities that are also facing these things, and just unfair tax breaks given to other people at the expense of you and I and other residents in the Oshkosh area.
So that's directly related to the property tax item that we talked about at the end of last CMR, right? So this is definitely something you'll want to tune in for and get a better feel for what it is.
Yeah, I think we want the public to be aware of this, and then they can talk to their legislators and know this is not just a City of Oshkosh City Hall issue. This is an issue that affects everybody, not only in Oshkosh, but in the region and throughout the state.
Excellent. Well, a lot to look forward to in this next council meeting. So thank you for coming by today, Mark, and telling us a little bit of the highlights that we can look forward to.
Always happy to.
Again, the council meeting is this Tuesday, September 8th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on City Cable 10 and on our website at oshkoshcommunitymedia.org. And you can also listen to it on 101.9 WOCT. As you know, it's online and on the TuneIn Radio app for your mobile device, too. Make sure to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for all of your community and government programming and updates, or check out our YouTube channel for government meeting replays and past episodes of your favorite programs. And don't forget, if you have a question for City Manager Mark Roloff, send it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of City Manager's Report. So that's going to do it for us today on CMR. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.